Rome, the 15th of March. The year is 44 before Christ. Julius Caesar walks toward the theater of Pompey, where the Senate is temporarily meeting. He is unarmed, without bodyguards, confident, or too arrogant to perceive what is about to happen. It is 11 o'clock in the morning when he enters the portico. Senators rise. They smile. They greet him. One of them, Julius Caesar, approaches. He asks for a favor related to his exiled brother. Caesar responds impatiently. Then Caesar grabs Caesar's toga, pulls it down, exposes his neck and shoulders. It is the signal. Publius Casca strikes first. His dagger tears into Caesar's shoulder, a superficial cut. Caesar screams, turns, grabs Casca's arm with his left hand. But then the others come. From all sides, 23 men, 60 stab wounds. Caesar tries to fight, tries to flee, but there is nowhere to go. When he sees Marcus Junius Brutus among the attackers, his adopted son, his protege, his greatest disappointment, Caesar stops fighting. According to Suetonius, his last words were in Greek, kai su, teknon, you too, my child. He pulls his toga over his head, falls at the feet of Pompey's statue. His former rival blood spreads across the marble floor. The most powerful man in Rome is dead. The assassins raise their bloodied daggers. They shout, "Libertas, freedom." They believe they have saved the Republic, killed a tyrant, restored the old order. They are convinced they will be celebrated as heroes, that the Roman people will thank them, that everything will return to normal. They are completely wrong, because what they have done is not save Rome, it is destroy it. And over the next 17 years, each one of them will pay. Some will die in battles. Others will be hunted like animals. Several will commit suicide when capture becomes imminent. And one will be executed publicly as an example. Today you will discover exactly how each senator who drove a blade into Caesar died. How Mark Antony and Octavian, Caesar's great-nephew who would become Augustus, the first emperor, systematically hunted down all the conspirators. How Rome drowned in blood to avenge one man. And how the attempt to save the Republic ended up burying it forever. Immediately after the assassination, the conspirators realized something is wrong. They expected the people to applaud them, but the forum is in shocked silence. The crowd does not celebrate. The crowd is afraid, and then angry. Because to the Roman plebs, Caesar was not a tyrant. He was a patron. He distributed lands, gave grain, offered spectacles, forgave debts. He was more generous than the aristocrats who killed him. The conspirators try to make a public speech. Marcus Junius Brutus, the intellectual leader of the conspiracy, climbs to the Capitol, tries to explain, to justify, but the crowd does not want to hear it. They begin throwing stones. The conspirators flee, barricade themselves in their homes. Rome is on the brink of civil war. Again. Mark Antony, consul and general loyal to Caesar, moves quickly. He seizes control of Caesar's will, convenes an assembly, reads the document publicly. Caesar left his gardens to the Roman people, left money for every citizen, 300 sesterces per person, his personal fortune, and most importantly, he posthumously adopted his great-nephew, Gaius Octavius, a young man of only 18 years. Now the boy is called Gaius Julius Caesar Octavianus. He is the legal heir, and he has the right to vengeance. Caesar's funeral is calculated theater. The body is displayed in the forum, wounds visible. 23 stab wounds. Mark Antony delivers a speech. He does not accuse directly. He merely asks. These men who killed Caesar claim to defend freedom. But what freedom? Freedom for aristocrats to maintain their privileges, or freedom for the people to have a voice? Caesar's blood-stained toga is raised on a spear. The crowd goes mad. They grab torches, run through the streets, search for conspirators, burn the homes of some, kill innocents who have similar names. Brutus and Cassius, leaders of the conspiracy, flee from Rome, go to the eastern provinces, begin gathering armies, because they know war is coming. But first comes the list. Proscriptio. In the year 43 before Christ, Mark Antony, Octavian, and Lepidus form the Second Triumvirate, an alliance of power. And their first decision is to eliminate enemies. They create a list of the proscribed: 300 senators, 2,000 equites. Anyone can kill them without punishment. Properties are confiscated, families destroyed. It is legalized terror. And at the top of the list, the conspirators against Caesar, all of them. Decimus Junius Brutus Albinus dies first. Cruel irony, because he was a close friend of Caesar. So close that Caesar named him in his will as a secondary heir in case Octavian died. But Brutus Albinus joined the conspiracy. It was he who convinced Caesar to go to the Senate on that fatal day, when Caesar was hesitant because of omens. In the year 43 before Christ, Brutus Albinus tries to flee to Gaul, plans to gather troops to resist, but he is captured by a Gallic chieftain named Antonius, who wants favor from the more powerful Mark Antony. Brutus Albinus is decapitated. His head is sent to Mark Antony as a gift. First traitor dead. Many more will come. Gaius Trebonius also dies quickly. He was governor of Asia, rich, powerful, actively participated in the conspiracy. In the year 43 before Christ, Publius Cornelius Dolabella, a general loyal to Caesar, arrives in Asia with orders to arrest Trebonius' soldiers, invade his house at night. Trebonius is dragged into the street, tortured for hours. They want names of other conspirators, locations of hideouts. He does not speak. Or perhaps he speaks, but it is not enough. Eventually he is beheaded. His head is thrown at the feet of a statue of Caesar. As an offering, his body is left unburied. The worst possible insult for a Roman. Lucius Minucius Basilus has an even more sordid end. He participated in the conspiracy, but was a marginal figure, brutal, cruel even by Roman standards, known for personally torturing slaves. In the year 43 before Christ, his own slaves rebel. They take advantage of the political chaos. They know no one will punish them because their master is on the proscription list. They capture him on a rural property, torture him exactly as he tortured others, castrate him, mutilate him, leave him to bleed to death. When soldiers arrive later, they find only an unrecognizable corpse. Mark Antony hunts the next ones personally. He travels through Italy and the provinces, eliminating conspirators one by one. Some try to resist, others beg for mercy. None is given. Quintus Ligarius, who conspired against Caesar, despite having been pardoned by him after a previous civil war, is captured, trying to flee to Africa, executed, summarily, without trial, without right of defense, just a sword to the neck, his head displayed in the forum as a warning. But the main targets are still free: Brutus and Cassius, leaders of the conspiracy. They are in the east gathering massive armies. They plunder provinces, take treasuries, recruit legions. In the year 42 before Christ, they have 80,000 soldiers. They believe they can win, that they can defeat the triumvirate, restore the republic. They are once again wrong. Philippi, Macedonia, October of the year 42 before Christ. 2 battles in 2 weeks will decide the fate of Rome. Brutus and Cassius command the Republican forces. Mark Antony and Octavian command the Caesarian forces. The first battle is confused. Indecisive Cassius mistakenly believes that Brutus has been defeated. He despairs, orders his freedmen to kill him. The man hesitates. Cassius insists. The freedman drives a sword into Cassius's chest. When Brutus discovers this, he weeps. But there is no time for mourning. The second battle is coming. 2 weeks later, the second battle of Philippi. This time, there is no confusion. The Caesarian forces systematically destroy the Republicans. Brutus's legions break. They flee. He tries to regroup, but it is impossible. At night, Brutus knows it is over. He gathers close friends, quotes a verse from Euripides. "O wretched virtue, you were merely a word, and I followed you as a real thing." He asks a friend to hold a sword, runs against it, dies instantly. Mark Antony finds the body, has a moment of respect, covers the body with his own cloak. Brutus was an enemy, but he was an honorable enemy. Only his head is cut off and sent to Rome, to be thrown at the feet of Caesar's statue. With the deaths of Brutus and Cassius, the backbone of the conspiracy is broken. But there are still dozens of conspirators alive, hidden fugitives, and the hunt continues. Gaius Cassius Longinus, brother of the main Cassius, tries to hide in Syria. He is betrayed by a local governor who wants favor from the triumvirate, captured and executed. Lucius Calpurnius Bibulus, son of the Bibulus who was consul with Caesar, fights at Philippi, survives, flees to Miletus, lives in hiding for months. Eventually he is discovered, chooses suicide instead of capture, opens his wrists in a bath, bleeds slowly. Publius Servilius Casca and Gaius Servilius Casca, brothers, both participated in the assassination. Publius was the first to attack Caesar, but his blow failed, the blade merely scratching the shoulder. He fled after the assassination, but did not go far enough. Captured in Italy in the year 42 before Christ, forced to commit suicide. The traditional Roman method, a short sword, his own hands. Gaius, the younger brother, died at Philippi. His body was never identified with certainty. Just another corpse in a field covered with the dead Servius Sulpicius Galba, ancestor of the future Emperor Galba, was a minor conspirator. He participated but did not lead. After the EI assassination, he tried to behave as if nothing had happened, remained in Rome, a fatal mistake. When the Prescriptio was published, his name was there. He tried to flee, but it was too late. The militia captured him. Beheaded in the middle of the street, his head displayed alongside others in the forum, dozens of them, a growing pile of dead traitors. Lucius Pontius Aquila also died trying to flee. He was a tribune of the plebs, had technical immunity, but no one respected immunities in civil war. Captured near Mutina, executed immediately, his body thrown into a common ditch. Marcus Spurius, another tribune, had slightly better luck. He managed to reach Greece, lived in hiding for years, but eventually died in obscure circumstances. Probably assassinated by Octavian's agents, we will never know for certain. Quintus Cassius Longinus, distant cousin of the leader Cassius, was governor of Hispania. Brutal, corrupt, hated by soldiers and civilians. When the civil war began, his own troops rebelled, not out of loyalty to Caesar, out of hatred for Quintus. He tried to flee, but was caught. Soldiers beat him to death. His body was left on the road, eaten by dogs. Some conspirators tried to switch sides to ask forgiveness, to offer bribes. Lucius Tillius Cimber, the one who gave the signal by pulling Caesar's toga, tried to negotiate with Mark Antony. He offered information, money, loyalty. Mark Antony refused. Cimber was hunted, captured in Bithynia, forced to watch the execution of his sons before being killed himself. A clear message: treason has no forgiveness, not for you, not for your descendants. Gaius Servilius Casca Longus, not to be confused with the earlier Casca brothers, was an older senator, respected, experienced, should have known better. But he joined the conspiracy out of idealism, genuinely believed the Republic could be saved, fled after the assassination, hid in a rural property, lived as a peasant for months, but eventually was identified, committed suicide before capture poison, a quick death. Perseus, a minor conspirator whose full name was lost in the records, died of disease before he could be executed. He was hiding in a cave in Campania. Infection, fever, a slow and miserable death. His fellow fugitives abandoned him. He died alone. His body rotted, was found weeks later by shepherds, and then there were the survivors. Few, very few. Lucius Cornificius achieved something remarkable. After Philippi, he hid so effectively that the triumvirate eventually gave up searching for him. Lived in exile in Greece. Died of natural causes decades later. One of the only conspirators to escape vengeance. Publius Sertorius Rullus also survived by hiding in remote communities. Changed his name. Lived the rest of his life in anonymity. But for the vast majority, there was no escape. Mark Antony and Octavian were relentless. They used every tool available: armies, assassins, bribes, torture, prescription lists, public terror. 17 years after Caesar's assassination, the last known conspirator was hunted down and killed. The revenge was complete. But the supreme irony? The republic the conspirators tried to save died with them. Because the civil war that followed Caesar's assassination destroyed the last vestiges of the republican system. When Octavian finally defeated Mark Antony at Actium in the year 31 before Christ, the republic was dead. Octavian became Augustus. The first emperor. Rome was an empire now, and would remain an empire for 500 years. The conspirators killed Caesar to prevent monarchy. Instead, they guaranteed that monarchy was inevitable. Marcus Junius Brutus believed he was doing the right thing. He cited virtue, spoke of freedom, compared himself to his ancestor Brutus, who expelled the last king from Rome centuries before. But he was wrong about everything. Caesar was not a tyrant like the ancient kings. He was a reformer that the republic could not accommodate. The system was broken, corrupt, an oligarchy of aristocrats defending privileges against popular will. Caesar tried to fix it. The conspirators killed him, and instead of saving the republic, they accelerated its destruction. Each stab wound in Caesar was more than an attack on a man. It was an attack on the future, and the future responded with blood. 23 main conspirators, dozens of minor accomplices, hundreds of supporters, all dead, hunted, executed, forced to suicide. Rome drowned in blood for 17 years to avenge one man. And when the vengeance was complete, Rome was no longer a republic, it was an empire, ruled by a dynasty that began with an 18-year-old who swore to avenge his adoptive uncle, and fulfilled that oath with brutal efficiency. So when you hear about the Ides of March, remember not just Caesar falling. Remember what came after. The river of blood that followed those 23 stab wounds, how each traitor paid. How the republic died, not with Caesar, but with the men who killed him. And how the attempt to preserve freedom destroyed the last chance for it to exist. The story of Caesar's revenge is not about justice. It is about how violence breeds violence. How political assassination unleashes horror that consumes everything. And how sometimes killing a tyrant does not bring freedom, it brings only worse tyranny. Rome learned this in the bloodiest way possible, and paid the price for 500 years.